post this afterwards. So everyone should see that the recording has started and go from there.
Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, Steve. We're just waiting.
Ben, I don't see any slides. I'm not sure if anybody else does.
Is anyone else not seeing slides just by a raise of yes, no?
We see the slides.
Okay.
Slides.
Oh, okay.
Steve,
Maybe
it
it's
just,
just me then. All
okay.
right.
Thank you. Yep.
Oh.
Great. Thank you. Um, Next slide. Great. The objective for tonight's meeting is for the two proponents of the RFP for Pier 5 to present their proposals for the property and to answer questions from the community. I will first give an overview of the RFP and property. Then the two proponents will give their presentations, 15 minutes each. I will be timing them, and I've told them to keep it at that length. After both presentations, we will open up the meetings for the sort of Q&A portion, which again, just use that raise hand feature. And then after the Q&A ends, I will wrap up the meeting with some next steps. So next slide. And next slide. The RFP for Pier 5 was released on September 26, 2024. The purpose of the RFP was for the redevelopment and long-term ground lease of the Pier 5 property owned by the Boston Planning and Development Agency, or the BPDA, which is generally shown on the map here in yellow. The land consists of approximately 158,000 square feet of a vacant pier and adjacent water sheet. The project is subject to many planning, zoning, and regulatory requirements and will have to be met. Next slide. Overall, the goal of this RFP is to convey the property to allow the development of open space, active and passive recreational uses, civic and cultural facilities, and water-dependent uses. And you can see it circled in red there. Next slide. The purpose of this meeting is to learn about the two proposals from the teams that created them and for the community to ask questions directly to the proponents. The two responsive proposals submitted in response to the RFP were from the Charlestown Marina LLC and Courageous Sailing Center for Youth Incorporate. Now I will pass off to Ann Lagasse and Chuck Lagasse to present Charlestown Marina's presentation.
Good evening, everyone. This is Ann Lagasse, and I'm going to do the presentation, Ben, and then Chuck and I will do the Q&A together. We just figured 15 minutes will make it a little more efficient with one person speaking.
Gotcha. The Q&A will be after Courageous's as well, by the way, at the end.
Great.
Yep.
Yep. Great. Thank you. So next slide. Next slide. Well, again, thank you all. We're very proud and excited to be here. My husband and I have been working in Boston Harbor now since 2009. We have developed now 7 marinas in Boston Harbor. Many of them very much like the original Chippewa Quarter that we took over here. And I just, I know I'm talking to a lot of people who know me already, so it's going to sound repetitive, but we were actually asked by the Friends of the Charlestown Navy Yard to come over and take a look at this defunct marina, which we all know was a big mess and a terrible harbor walk. So that was in 2014. So when we saw the opportunity for this RFP to come out, frankly, we weren't even going to throw our hat in the ring, but we understood there were 2 other, Courageous, we know obviously, but there was another candidate. So we decided to throw our hat in the ring because obviously we have a big investment in Charlestown and anything that's done there has got to be done right. So that's why we threw our hat in the ring. So our proposal is something very simple. We'd like to expand the marina at Pier 6, basically adding 45 new slips that are about 50 feet in length, and remove the pier because, as we know, it's in very much disrepair. That being said, we would absolutely work with Courageous Sailing in this process. We've had some conversations, but that's it. I mean, we've not gone any further than that because we know Courageous has worked very hard on this very ambitious plan that they've put together. Next slide. A little bit about our background. As I mentioned, we are in the marina business, real estate business. We worked 30 years in Newburyport. We like to say we are definitely preservationists and redevelopers. We like old buildings. We like history. That's been our experience in the real estate world. Today, as I mentioned, we operate 7 marinas in Boston, and we've also operate and own a marina in Portland, Maine, and Provincetown. Again, the history of Charlestown Marina was a really tough one. It was shut down by the DEP and the AG's office. So we had a lot of steps to take to rebuild this marina, including permitting, removing all the old docks and replacing them with new ones. This work was recognized by the industry, the marine industry. 2 years ago, we won Marina of the Year in the United States for this lovely marina in this lovely community. So we're very proud of that. You know, we are committed in working, which we've always have been, in terms of creating jobs and working with minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses as we build our properties. Next slide. A little bit about our design team. You know, again, I think one thing that we'd like to really point out is in the beginning, I mean, in the center here is the construction is Blue Atlantic Fabricators is a East Boston company that was responsible for building all our piles and docks for Pier 6. So we would continue with this group as to do this expansion. So next slide. As I mentioned, you know, leaving most of the water sheet open, but we would be extending these finger docks, as we call them, into this water sheet. Basically, it would be about 45, as I said, public slips, and, you know, 7.5 feet wide and 50 feet long. So not big slips. We would add to the end of this dock a new wave attenuator, which I'm sure you all see these around the harbor now. They're used to kind of protect the inner marina from the wave action in the harbor. And it's an important, you know, part of all of our marinas, because we try to make them as resilient and as safe and as strong as possible. So building this wave attenuator is a part of this plan too. Next slide. So here's a picture of what the yellow piers are the new ones that we would be adding. Next slide. As we said, there would be an addition to Pier 6. So again, it would not impact the harbor walk, all the public amenities we have on Pier 6. These new boat owners, we feel would be using parking at Flagship or in our parking lot. And if necessary, if there's additional bikes, those types of things, we can add bike storage because, you know, just to let you all know, 40% of these customers in Charlestown Marina are residents of Charlestown. And beyond that is, you know, Greater Boston. Obviously, the marina would comply with all city, state, and federal agencies, you know, which we have a lot of experience working with those agencies. Next slide, Ben. One thing, the boaters on this call know this, but we build floating marinas. And the reason being, right, is we have a tidal change in Boston Harbor, obviously, but beyond that, we're seeing sea level rise. So building a floating marina is important for longevity of the marina and for safety for our customers. So this is us building Pier 6 during COVID. Again, one thing I do want to tell everybody too, we'd build this new extension just like we built Pier 6 and 8. All of the construction would take place on the water. There would be no traffic going through the Navy Yard. We'd be building the pieces over in our East Boston shipyard and bringing them across and installing. So we would not see any traffic or congestion in the streets of the Navy Yard due to the construction of this addition. Lastly, we're committed to sourcing labor and materials locally. As I mentioned, the East Boston Shipyard, Blue Atlantic. We would continue to use with this ePay, which is a sustainable hardwood. That's the material on our docks and our harbor walk. And the lighting would be LED, much like you've seen in Pier 6 already. So all similar style. Next, Ben. Financials. Yeah, so we know this project is going to cost us somewhere around $15 million, which we feel we can fund through our operations of our larger company. We would be working with the BPDA, who's committed to $8 million to remove the pier. You know, I don't know if that's a accurate recent number, but you know, we know that's been suggested to both proponents in terms of the commitment to the city to deal with the existing pier. Next slide. Ground rent. So obviously, you know, we would be paying rent much like we do. Just people may not know this, but we do rent already from the BPDA, a section we call Pier 9, which is between just north of Pier 8, a section. So we currently pay rent to the BPDA monthly on the Pier 9 section where we have a number of slips. So we were using a very same model to price what 45 new slips should be paying for rent to the city. So our feeling is that it would be a fair amount of rent to pay $47,500 a year to the city. Next slide. I don't know where we are in minutes. I've been timing myself, but I want to say that we're excited to be here. We believe we have the experience, the financial ability, the experience in terms of permitting. All of these things are complicated, but we have very good relationships with the DEP, Army Corps, all the agencies that are needed to continue to expand this marina. And some of these photos down here, we thought it'd be worthwhile just to share with you some of the activities we have at our marina. You may not know it, but you know, the cute photo with the two little guys in the yellow life jackets. We run a kids and boating event every year for the community to get people down to the water in conjunction with the Charlestown Y. They're very helpful in terms of activities. Every year we host the Impossible Dream Vessel, which frankly just left this morning, yesterday morning, which is a 100% accessible sailboat. They've been coming to Charlestown Marina now for 9 years in conjunction with Spalding Rehab. And I think they've brought out over 1,000 sailors since they've been working or coming to Boston. And again, we were introduced to them from one of the neighbors in the Charlestown Navy Yard. So it's been a great partnership. And the last photo on the far right is just, we like to tell people, you know, even if you don't have a boat, you can come to Charlestown Marina and get on the water. We have a Freedom Boat Club, which is a boat share program. We have the Red Taxi that picks people up. And we have a number of commercial cycle boat, everybody sees that, and a number of other commercial sailing vessels. So there's an opportunity for everybody to get on the water at Charlestown Marina. So. And I don't know where we are for time, Ben. So where are we? We good?
So you're at 10 minutes. Yep.
Oh, 10 minutes. Okay.
But if you're done, I can pass it along, but feel free, you have 15
yeah,
minutes.
I kind of think, yes, I think we're done. Again, we're happy to be here. We feel like getting this redeveloped for the neighborhood is important because it's been an eyesore. We know it's not safe. The harbor walk around it is in terrible disrepair too. So we're excited to be part of a solution here for the neighborhood.
One thing, Ian, that you might mention too, we talk about the marina, but it's really, we're proud of the pier improvements. Pier 6, as you know, was basically decrepit pier also. The harbor walks that exist on Pier 6 today, we built from scratch, the lighting, reconfigured it with the furniture, and the harbor walks today that everybody enjoys are basically new, both on Pier 6 and on Pier 8. And the connections between the two piers have been all improved and updated for public access. So those two piers are just examples of several piers that we've done in Boston and continue to be very proud of, and the fact that they open the pier usage up to the entire neighborhood, and as well as the city of Boston, become part of the Harbor Walk network.
Are you all done, Ann and Chuck?
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Next slide. And for those who come in a little bit late, we know that the chat feature isn't working. We're working on it right now. And we will have a solution by the question and answer feature. We're not trying to hold back any comments or anything like that. We're
Oh,
just
please.
next, I will pass it off to Bill Jacobson to present for Courageous Sailing Center for Youth Incorporated.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Ben? Yep.
Yes, we can, Bill. Yep.
Okay, great. Next slide. Hello, everybody, and thank you for your participation. I'm Bill Jacobson, a Charlestown resident, courageous parent, and area businessman. As a courageous board member, I'm here leading the Pier 5 initiative. I'm here with Dave DiLorenzo, the courageous executive director, and Dave Alexander, our board president, both will be on hand during the Q&A. Boston's waterfront is a defining feature of our city, but for too long, its potential as an inclusive and vibrant community gathering space has gone untapped. We are seeking to transform the neglected pier into a beacon of education, sustainability, and recreation, where residents and visitors to Boston can appreciate our beloved harbor all year long. Next slide. Courageous Sailing is a nationally recognized nonprofit organization with 37 years of getting people from all across Boston out onto the harbor. It began with the motto that every year, every child's perspective is improved 50 yards offshore. Excuse me a second. Over the years, the organization has modernized to best serve the needs of today's youth and adults. Courageous's youth program now includes year-round STEM education, swimming lessons, and social-emotional learning for over 1,000 kids. For adults, Courageous provides affordable sailing education at all levels, waterfront access to the public, accessible sailing for disabled sailors, and corporate team building activities. Yet, while Courageous programming and capabilities have expanded, due to regulatory constraints at Courageous's Pier 4 facilities, they have had to remain the same for the last 37 years. To put a fine point on it, there is no year-round running water and only porta-potty facilities for bathrooms. And in extreme heat events, the only relief is an outdoor tent. Next slide. Next door, for over 30 years, Pier 5 has been a fenced-off eyesore. 5 years ago, the city issued an RFP for commercial development, including high-end residential and hotel use. None of the bids met the city's objective, and commercial development was scrapped. The current RFP is focused on public benefit. The city is committing up to $8 million for pier infrastructure and removal and has generated an RFP that prioritizes equitable waterfront access, including sailing and swimming, plus education and climate resiliency. Reading the RFP, Courageous felt it was a natural fit. For 37 years, the organization has been safely providing equitable access to the harbor for all of Boston, not just its wealthy residents who live on the harbor or keep boats in its marinas, but for everyone. With our base on Pier 4 and decades of experience on Boston Harbor, we can activate both Piers 4 and 5 to become something far greater than the sum of the parts. Courageous assembled a development team and focused its efforts on a plan that can fulfill Courageous's facilities needs and a new destination location for the entire city and beyond. Next slide. As we discuss plans for Pier 5, it's important to know the impact Courageous has on our community. I was going to briefly talk to you about what Courageous does in its programs, but earlier today, Dave DiLorenzo received a letter from a longtime Courageous supporter that captures so well the impact Courageous has. I'd like to share that letter with you. Here we go. My name is Steve Cucciaro, and my company, 3 Edge Asset Management, has been a corporate sponsor to Courageous Sailing for the past several years. As a young boy, I would visit my grandfather from time to time who lived in Charlestown. He introduced me to his neighbor's son, Billy, who was the same age as me. My grandfather fretted that when Billy became a teenager in a few years, the local gangs would put him into their grasp. A few years later, I never saw Billy again. My family moved from Dorchester to Beverly when I was young, and my dad encouraged me to join the local Beverly Sailing Club, which was very affordable at the time. My dad's exposure to sailing was made possible only because of a community sailing program in Boston for inner city kids who would otherwise have had no exposure to a sport like sailing. I really took to sailing and it stuck with me. I'm proud to say I was MIT's first two-time All-American in sailing and went on to be a member of the U.S. Olympic team and win gold medal at the 1979 Pan American Olympic Games. The benefits from my sailing experience went far beyond the sailing itself, with many lessons that built character and carried over to my education and career pursuits. Supporting courageous sailings offers the city of Boston and its youth a tremendous opportunity to change lives with meaningful multiplier effect over a large inner city population. I believe that the city of Boston's return on investment capital will be exceptional. Thank you, Steve, for providing that letter. Now, here's the reality. Courageous's main summer programming is involved and intense. It requires boats, swimming pools, buses, and a 3-to-1 participation to instructor ratio. A proper year-round facility will enable Courageous to do two main things. First, expand its on-water programming so more kids can be involved in its core programming, and we can eliminate our waiting list once and for all. Second, increase capacity to provide courageous experiences to 10x the number of kids. These will be achieved through year-round field trips, Boston Public Schools after-school programs, and general public visits. Next slide. Understanding what Courageous needs for Pier 5, what about Charlestown and the broader city? For over a year, we have been talking to residents and community groups and listening to what they would like to see on Pier 5. In the last 10 years, we've all watched the seaport rise from parking lots into a major addition into the cityscape. While I love visiting that part of town, it feels more like a place for young professionals and affluent older residents. And while it is on the harbor, you can only touch the water by going to a private marina. Charlestown, among other things, is filled with families, all living in the historical birthplace of our nation. Within a short walk from Pier 5 are 20,000 residents, as well as the start or end of the Freedom Trail, the Bunker Hill Monument, the USS Constitution, and the Constitution Museum. These celebrations of Boston's history get over 2 million visitors a year, but there is little else for citizens, school groups, and visitors to do in the Navy Yard, and we'd like to change that. Understanding what we need for Courageous and for Boston, the team looked around the world for inspiration. Next slide. I'll give you two. First one, there is an Atlas Sea Pool in Finland. We were drawn to the interaction of the building on the pier with the floating swimming activities. Next slide. Closer to home is Little Island in New York City. If you haven't been, I recommend it. We noticed how gathering spaces were interwoven with the more individual spaces. With all that as a backdrop for Pier 5, next slide. We propose a world-class social infrastructure facility that provides year-round equitable access to Boston's waterfront, ensuring that people from all neighborhoods and backgrounds can connect with this shared resource. The site is centered around 4 main pillars: community, resilience, recreation, and education. Next slide. To get maximum usage and benefit, each part of the outdoor and indoor spaces have been designed for multi-purpose use by 3 key groups. First, to expand Courageous's programming and enable more kids and adults to access the harbor. Second, as a public year-round park and educational space. And third, to generate revenue necessary to make the project a reality. Viewing, walking, and relaxing opportunities are designed throughout the site. For example, the end of the pier has been left open and accessible for everyone to enjoy. Next slide. The green roof will take you to the top of a relaxation and viewing area, or you can go through the building and take the stairs or an elevator to get there. Next slide. At the land side is what we call the Learning Lagoon, where visitors can actually dip their toes in the water, something we know Boston has been wanting to do for a long time. This area doubles as an outdoor tidal pool classroom. Art installations have been a focus of our development efforts as well. Together with partner Embrace Boston organization, we have envisioned tidal sculptures in the Learning Lagoon that can help inner city groups feel welcome and invited. Next slide. There is an ocean-fed pool and associated facilities. Here, courageous kids can have their summer swimming programs. Currently, they have to use a pool in East Boston this summer. And when those programs aren't in session, Boston can enjoy swimming directly in the harbor in the summer months and saunas and cold pools in the winter months. Next slide. Inside, the site has a 2-story hub space to welcome the public and manage site activities, indoor and outdoor classrooms and demonstration spaces, an immersive gallery for public shows on maritime and environmental topics, concession stands and changing areas for the water activities, and a great hall gathering space with a wraparound terrace. This will enable all courageous kids to have lunch together, and when programming is not in session, the space will be used for public and private events. Next slide. The 2-story vertical structure has been carefully designed based on local community involvement. The building's vertical height was kept within the 35-foot RFP recommendation, and the max height of the building was purposely located as far as possible away from land. Meanwhile, main gathering spaces in the pool were placed seaside of the building to shield noise and neighborhood disruption. Next slide. Education and resiliency were prominent aspects of the RFP, as well as core to the Courageous organization. We brought these elements together in our proposal through the creation of a one-of-a-kind Boston Science Pier. This is a shared facility for marine science institutions to have direct water access. We heard from leading marine institutions that they all have their own labs, teaching, and office space, but what they need is direct water access for research, education, and community outreach. The Science Pier creates a flywheel of mission-aligned activity at the site. The consortium partners develop programming and events that are in line with the education and resiliency goals of Courageous and the city. These in turn attract public and private activities that inform the consortium's efforts and Courageous's programming. Next slide. Our physical site resiliency plans are also as robust. With scalable nature-based solutions built into the design, Pier 5 can stand as a compelling proof of concept for resiliency action. For example, at the pier's end, the proposed floating wave protection system will reduce wave heights and calm surrounding waters. But we are also a science location and an education site. By embedding monitoring technologies into these features, we can collect critical performance data that will validate their effectiveness and strengthen the case for broader investment and implementation around the region. Not to mention to be a learning tool for Courageous youth programming. Next slide.
You're coming up on your last minute here, so it's an FYI.
Okay, perfect. I'm almost done. Our bold vision has been shaped by an extraordinary and diverse team of professionals from local and national firms with decades of experience. Starting with Courageous, there's no better group to safely and equitably make Boston Harbor a public amenity. The full group spans the gamut of what is needed to bring this vision to life. Many of the project's team are on this call today and ready during the Q&A to address questions from their area of expertise. Next slide. This is the last one. Oh no, I have one more, sorry. Courageous Sailing is proposing a creative and proven public-private partnership financing approach, one that combines public resources, private capital, and philanthropic support to bring this transformative project to life. We already have momentum with foundations and a pledge from a board member for $500,000 as a matching fund, and other pledges have come in against that match. I can get into more of this at the Q&A. Next slide. To wrap up, this project is strategic, achievable, and deeply rooted in Courageous Sailing mission to to expand access, equity, and education on Boston's waterfront. Please visit courageoussailing.org/Pier5 for details, short video on the project, all our amazing letters of support, and to tell us how you'd like to use Pier 5. We're excited, we're prepared, and we believe this is more than a development. It's a legacy project for the whole city. It will affect our kids and their kids. It will define Boston and its waterfront for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And let me give Steph 1 second. We're going to have sorry for the inconvenience. It is a Zoom snafu, so apologize. We are going to have a QR code and a link for people to type their comments, and we will start, and I will comments which anyone can access. It is a publicly open document. The link and the QR code can be on your screen, and I will be looking at that throughout the rest of the Q&A tonight to make sure I include those questions as well. The comments will also be put on the Pier 5 website, but I will now start with the people who have raised their hands in the order of who raised their hand first. So Rosemary, you were first. So I'm going to, you can unmute and I'm going to lower your hand, but you can talk.
Thank you very much. My name is Rosemary Massaro. I live at the Navy Yard. First, I'd like to say that I did request that this meeting be postponed, and the BRA, in a particularly rude manner, refused to postpone the meeting to allow many of our neighbors to be present at the meeting tonight, given that this is a vacation season. Secondarily, I have some questions, but I want to know from the BRA why the Pier 5 Association proposal was not considered and was not given an opportunity to be presented tonight, given the fact that the Pier 5 Association proposal is for an open public park and has over 3,000 signatures in favor of that park. Mr. Merker, can you answer that question?
Surely. The reason that proposal, and anybody who wants it can email me and I will be happy to share it with you, is it did not, the RFPs have to be submitted with certain aspects, and that all RFPs, and they crucial parts of your proposal were not submitted, of that proposal was not submitted, and that was in the letter that was sent back. So
And
I'm happy to share that one.
Well, good. And I've made a request to you for some public records associated with this meeting, and I'll expect to get those in due course. Now, I'd like to ask a question of the Ms. or Mr. Lagasse. With regard to your plan for a marina in the area of Pier 5, there are going to be 45 slips. Are you going to be taking down Pier 5 completely in order to be able to accommodate those slips?
This is Chuck Lagasse. Yeah, the plan basically was to demolish Pier 5 in accordance with, the way we've demolished other sections of the areas in the Navy Yard that needed an improvement, and work with the city, the DEP, and the Army Corps, which all those permitting authorities will.
Thank you, Mr. Lagasse. You've answered my question. Thank you. My second question as a follow-up is, what type of engineering studies or provisions have you made to determine how you're going to stabilize the front walls of the Flagship Wharf condominium that is presently receiving sublateral support from the existence of Pier 5?
Well, this is Chuck Lagasse again. I can tell you that we deal with a lot of seawalls in Boston and in other areas, and we have a lot of experience with that. So any lateral support from that pier is currently deteriorating, and somebody's going to have to deal with it, and we will have to deal with it. And what we'll do is we'll work just like we do with the city now. We'll work with the city to come up with a plan that makes the pier removal safe and structurally sound for not only Flagship, but sound for the people that enjoy the harbor today. So
Mr. Lagasse, is it fair to say that you have not done any investigation into the amount of sublateral support that the existing pier, all 1,600 pilings, provide to Flagship Wharf? Is that a fair statement?
Well, one thing you
Is
should,
that a fair statement, Mr. Lagasse? It's a yes or no question.
no,
Oh,
it's not.
All
Okay,
right, thank you.
Rosemary,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. I'm not done yet.
Rosemary,
I want to ask
okay,
a question of the people for Courageous and Mr.
Okay.
Jacobson. And my question for Mr. Jacobson is, how much money is ASM Global providing to Courageous in order to support Courageous's proposal here? And is there any type of debt financing involved with that money from ASM Global? Mr. Jacobson?
Yes. ASM Global has not provided any funds to Courageous in support of this proposal.
Is ASM Global providing any funds for Courageous to proceed with this proposal or envision to provide any in the future?
ASM is here, but ASM is an operator. The project would be hiring ASM. Just for background to everybody, working on this project, we've put together really a world-class team. Ben, if you don't mind putting up the slide of the team for a second, I would appreciate that.
Mr. Jacobson,
Rosemary,
ASM
please let him
Global
answer his
being
question.
paid?
With all due
How
respect,
are
there's
they
like 5
going
other
to
people that have their
be
hands up.
paid?
And I think
Okay.
I think if you're going to
We're gonna-
have many other questions, I think it's fair for you to ask them at the end.
Okay, Rosemary, I let
I
Billy
want to
answer
know
this.
how these people are being paid. They do not work for free.
Okay, Rosemary, I'm
All right, just have my question out there. I want an answer to my question
Okay.
by someone on the Courageous team, because I think it is completely deceptive to propose having private equity be involved with Pier 5 for Courageous that is more than doubling its size in
Okay.
order to proceed with this project and not be able to answer the question.
Okay.
I will.
Unacceptable.
Okay. I will. I want to address this question, Rosemary, and I appreciate your input. People are drawn to the vision of this project. The team that we have here is full of engineers, permitting people, operators, lawyers, professionals that have been dedicating their time to this project. Certainly, if we are given the designation, people will need to be paid for the excellent work that they do. And that is all built into the funds that will be raised for the project.
And that's the question
But
I'm asking you,
Okay,
Mr.
okay,
Jacobson.
Rosemary, we have many people and
Mr. Jacobson has not answered my question.
Rosemary.
Turn her off.
Ro-
Turn her off. Thank you.
Sorry,
I'm happy. This is Jeff Lassard with ASM Global. I'm happy to jump in here. ASM Global operates 450 venues globally. A lot of those venues are owned by municipalities, and a lot of those venues are operated under a management agreement, which is a fixed annual fee with typically some incentive upside. We're not a private equity company, we're operators. And we would work with the community and with the team that Bill's assembled here to operate this in a world-class manner like every other venue we operate around the globe.
Great. Thank you very much for that answer. I just want to, I'm going to let the next person go, Barbara, in 1 second. I just want to remind everyone, there's a question that I ask you to mute after 2 minutes. It's not because we don't want to hear what you have to say. It's just because we have so many people who want to speak their minds. So you can email me afterwards. We're going to be doing a sort of a wave answer for ourselves. If you have a question for the planning department staff, if you have a question for a proponent, we'll be releasing that sort of in waves as we get questions. So Barbara, you are next. So please feel free to unmute and yeah, thank you for being here.
All right. Hey, thanks so much. A pleasure to be here. And I'll be respectful of everyone's time because a lot of folks want to ask questions. So I'll be as brief as I can. I've done park planning my whole life. I live in Paris Landing, which is really close to the pier, and heard ideas initially about, gee, we should have a park. The park should be a part of what this pier is. And when I do park planning, I always rely on the Trust for Public Land. They evaluate cities all around the country, and Boston actually scores very high. It's scored 12th. like the 100 most populated cities. One of the metrics that they look at is park acreage. City of Boston scores 100, perfect score, because Boston has 5,895 acres of parkland, but scores very poorly, only an 8 out of 100, for median park size. So the idea of a small park being added to the system doesn't necessarily make sense to me. Furthermore, they look at equity. And in Boston, neighborhoods of people of color have about 25% less park acreage than other neighborhoods. And also people that are not of good financial means also have much less parkland. So if I were in charge of the city, I wouldn't look to be putting a park in as part of this pier. Second point I wanted to make is just that I've been a part of the working group, and I've been involved in many, many public-private partnerships, and I've been very, very impressed with the job Courageous Sailing has done of getting all of these firms such expertise at the table, and these firms doing pro bono work has been extremely impressive to me. So I'm one of the folks that really support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. And I'm just going to go to the comments that people have, questions that people have here. Matthew asked, can someone summarize the other proposals or provide a list of them? There's Courageous and the Marina, so I will answer that one. And the other question is,
sorry, is there just a quick follow-up? Is there a place online that we can get like a full proposal for those?
Yes, if you go just Google Pier 5 and like planning department, there's a website for you to where the proposals are posted.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Yep. And
sorry.
No,
is there
okay.
a timeline for? Can you just outline the timeline? If it's online, I'm happy to do that. But is there a timeline for when this will be decided, and like and just the decision process of actually picking a proposal?
At the end, I will have a timeline. That's after the Q&A. I'll have a little timeline. Yep, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to go back to I'm trying to go between written questions and people writing them, raising hands. So James Lee, you are next, so feel free to unmute.
Yes, thank you, Ben, and thanks for the presentations by Ann Lagasse and Bill Jacobson. And Barbara Heller was absolutely right. Courageous has assembled a stellar team. And I've worked with some of them myself for quite a number of years. So all kudos to all the work they've done, and especially pro bono. However, I was also on that working group from May to November last year, and I was invited by Dave DiLorenzo, saying that they have potentially a partner in Northeastern and Woods Hole. The reason I left in November is because I no longer see an alignment of the public benefit to the direction that the group is going, and I resigned. And so I first want to mention that. Ben, can you pull up slide number, page 99 through 100, 93 through 100 in the original proposal where the financial documents are? Thank you.
Yes, just give us 1 second.
And I have a brief question on that, and followed by one comment on Pier 5, one comment on Pier 4 and 5.
Okay, Steph, can you go to the Courageous's proposal? Yep, and scroll down to, I'm not sure if it's PDF page 93, but I'm sure it's pretty close to there.
It is PDF 93. Yes.
Okay, great, perfect. Yeah, so
right there. Okay, go to
just that you're at 1 minute and 24 seconds, James. Just want to, thank you. But go ahead.
Well, so this is a section that was omitted from the publication until this last Monday. So I want to state on the record and protest this, action. It has important information. Keep on going, please. And I will come to one more. Okay, contingencies at the bottom. 5 contingencies, which Courageous wants the city to absorb. These are cost items. And I just want to ask Ben and Bill Jacobson, I've asked you this online. Do you have a cost for rebuilding the pier in your budget? What you told me was no. So just answer simply yes or no. at this meeting. The cost to reconstruct the pier.
This is Bill Jacobson. So we know that the city has put into the RFP that they will pay, they're prepared to pay $8 million towards pier demolition. And in our proposal, we are prepared to fund the rest of the pier reconstruction to our standards and the vertical development. Upon being awarded this, we will dive into what the real costs of the pier are. We have some estimates, and we've updated our estimates to be $65 to $80 million, which I put into this presentation, and that includes the pier reconstruction. In looking at with our cost estimates, actually, from the time that we put the bid into, some construction costs have actually come down. Different things are happening in the world that we feel like there's some costs are actually coming down. So the overall cost that we see is $65 to $80 million, including beyond $8 million of the.
Thank you. I asked the same question to BPDA. Ben, do you have a rejoinder to what Bill just said?
No, I'll just add on.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I know you asked that question in of me. That's one of the questions I put into the sort of answer to the community on that public answer document, which we'll be putting out in waves. So
I just want to make note that after 5 months of receiving this proposal and probably discussion with the proponent, the BPDA does not have a major cost lockdown. Now, I did, of course, I'm no engineer, but I did ask
James, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we have about 15 or 20 other people raise hands questions. So if we get to the end and we can come back to you.
You and Bill Jacobson just interrupted me, and let me just make one comment.
Okay, that's fine. Yep, go ahead. Yep. Thank you.
I want to read someone who has the information on the cost. We are able, I'm quoting, to obtain a thorough construction cost estimate. The pier rebuild itself amounts to over 50% of the total, and the building about 20%. The total cost is close to $100 million. Now, this is from an email to the BPDA dated July 14, 2023, sent by a senior executive of Courageous to 2 BPDA directors, copied to a Courageous board member. $100 million project, of which over 50 is the pier cost, and the building at that time was only 20%. So 20 million for the building, 80 million for everything else, including boardwalk, harbor walk, etc. So if you add 80 million to your previous assumption, budget of 70, you're talking about a $100 million project, and that's not 80 million. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Appreciate that.
I just want to make one statement off of that.
Go ahead. Yep.
I think you mentioned that email, and I'm not sure what it refers to, was from 2023. This is 2025. The plan that we are presenting here wasn't even in the team that we've assembled. The cost estimates were, perhaps there was some early, finger waving. This is a real plan that we are proposing here. It is not an email. It's a real team. It's a real plan. A lot of work has gone into this.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. I'm going to go to one question from the people who are writing questions, and I think it's for Courageous. So this is a Navy Yard resident for 13 years. It's from Aletta. I fully support Courageous' proposal to transform Pier 5. What a wonderful, modern, inclusive vision. My question is, will incorporate regular adaptive programs for kids and adults? And so I believe this is for Courageous. So Bill.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
That's okay. Yep. And then we're going to go to the next person. Matt Rubin, you're up next. But just my question is, will it incorporate regular adaptive programs for kids and adults?
Courageous already provides some adaptive programs, and the plan is to increase all Courageous programming. We want to be respectful of other aspects that are happening on the harbor and make sure that we're filling gaps and not duplicating what isn't needed.
Great. Thank you, Bill. Matt, you are up. You feel free to unmute.
Great, thank you very much, and appreciate the presentation from both. I do know both Bill and Chuck and Ann, and consider them all friends. I'm a longtime resident of the waterfront. I'm a trustee of Harbor Towers. I'm also on the Wharf District Council Climate Resiliency Task Force. Last night we rolled out publicly our conceptual plan for the waterfront to protect downtown Boston. And one of the things that we are particularly proud of there is both the combination of protection for the waterfront and significant activation and opportunity to redevelop the waterfront in a positive way. I was very pleased to see the courageous proposal where I'm personally, not on behalf of anyone else, but personally very supportive of that vision. I just want to echo something that Brian Sweat from the city said last night about our plan at the Wharf District Council, that it is not just about climate resiliency, but it's also about an untapped and unprecedented opportunity to create a new space along the lines of what Bill and the Courageous team is promoting. I am curious. I know I saw that Derek Anderson's on this call. I did have a chance to read Brian Sweat's presentation about flood paths and flood plains into this area. I'm curious how this plan that Courageous has presented specifically addresses the flood pathways while also creating an amazing opportunity for activation. And again, thank you for the time, and I really do appreciate the work that the Courageous team has put into this plan.
Great.
Derek, if you want to, Derek is from Arab and part of our working group. If you want to, take his question.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for the question, Matt. So generally, any pier structure out in the water has some, while it's out in the water, still has some ways that it can help out with flood protection for inland properties. One of the key features that our team here is proposing is a wave attenuator, a floating breakwater dock, basically at the end of the pier. While that in itself can't help with just rising seas and kind of the still water, it can help reduce wave height run up, reducing the impact of waves on the existing seawalls and the run up of waves over those seawalls, which has potential to reduce the height of flood protection barriers at the waterfront, reducing the impact on views and access to the waterfront, potentially reducing costs of that inland infrastructure, including as well as reducing the potential need for stormwater infrastructure, as we'll be reducing the overtopping of seawalls through reduced wave heights there. We're also looking at revetments, which is basically dumping stone along the existing seawall to help reinforce that seawall, or living shorelines. Both of those types of measures could soften the edge so that as the waves come in, they don't have as much energy as they splash up onto the harbor walk there. So in those ways can similarly help to reduce the need and cost of flood protection systems inland. So those are a couple of the ways that we're looking at, in addition to many ecological benefits that might add some co-benefits to those strategies as well, which I'd be happy to talk about if anyone has questions about those.
Great. Thank you. Jules, you're up next. I'm just going to read one question from the question tracker, and then we'll let you speak. Just from Matt Engler for the Courageous proposal, will there be kayak access, and would it be possible to incorporate a broader kayaking program?
Dave DiLorenzo, are you?
Yeah, I'm here. We would love to add some kayaking capacity. Absolutely. It's among the things that are still under consideration and that we need to engage in dialogue with the community about. But we support kayaking and have thought very much about having some kayak access and some limited kayaking programming that could be complementary to what we currently do.
Great. Jules, you're up next.
Good evening. My name's Jules Pieri, and I'm here to urge the BPD to reject the proposal by Courageous Sailing for Pier 5. In full disclosure, I served on the Courageous Working Group and joined with genuine hope that we could create a true community waterfront center. But I had to step away because the more I saw, the clearer it became that this is not a community project. It's a large-scale commercial operation that would privatize the pier for decades to come. Starting with the building itself, the proposed structure is massively oversized for the site. It would eliminate open views, block the skyline, and erase rare waterfront open space, replacing it with offices, a 400-seat wedding venue, and a tourist theater. Despite its nonprofit branding, this plan is driven by a commercial business model. Their for-profit business partner, ASM Global, is slated to earn over $3.6 million a year, and the publicly funded institutions are listed as lessees, meaning Courageous would charge rent to nonprofits and universities on public property. We, the taxpayers, will fund this commercial development to the tune of over $100 million once all the true costs are revealed. The proposal's claim of year-round equitable access does not stand up to scrutiny. This is not Helsinki's open pools or New York's little islands. This is a pay-to-play model with vague pricing and time-limited access for all the supposed public amenities. In the end, this proposal privatizes the pier, restricts access, and depends on opaque finances, all while delivering less to the public than the site deserves. But I still believe, why I worked on this to begin with, is there is a better way. Boston Harbor is now among the cleanest urban waterfronts in America. Let's follow the lead of New York's Plus Pool, a really exciting idea. And imagine a public swimming destination that connects people to the water, a space for joy, health, and civic pride. We can think bigger and spend less taxpayer money in the process. My simple question to the community is, can we agree we should not settle for a private complex in disguise? Can we agree that we should make this a landmark public space? Thank you.
Thank you, Jules. Connie, you are up next.
Can we?
I need to respond to that.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. Sorry.
It is, and I'll let Bill opine here, but it is grossly inaccurate that ASM Global would earn $3.6 million a year in net operating income from our involvement in this project.
Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to give Dave Alexander, the board chair of Courageous, a chance to speak for a minute.
Hi there. Yes, just to briefly address a couple of the points that Jules brought up. First of all, she is a resident of Flagship Wharf, which is right behind the project. And I think that's an important thing to understand. We do have quite a number of people that live in the same building that are proponents of this project. And secondly, part of the reason for these activities, part of the reason for inviting ASM and some of the other people to help us think through how this facility can operate and sustain itself is because basically we don't have unlimited public funding for it. If the state and the city and the federal government wanted or were able to pay for the facility that everybody wants there, we would happily not be pursuing all these alternatives. But what we're talking about is the way that we can generate the revenue to basically make this project possible. And I think it's really important for everybody to understand that this proposal is based on years of discussions with the community, with members of Courageous and families that go to Courageous, and people across the city in terms of climate resiliency and equitable access to the waterfront. So I think there's a lot more to it, but basically, the reason that a lot of these activities and features have been baked into this project is to help it pay for itself. If somebody has a lot of money that they want to invest in this project, we're happy to talk to them.
Great. Connie, I'm gonna let you go in one second. I just want to we're gonna extend, just because of the technical difficulties, we're gonna extend to 7:45. So I hope everyone can stay on and give your comments. Connie will go next, and then I'm going to ask a few questions put up a few questions from the written one. Thanks, Connie. You can you're not unmuted though. You can unmute though. Let's see if I can do it. I can't. Yeah, there you go. Should be able to hear you now.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. I'm just going to jump in where Jules left off, which is that this is not an equitable development. It is not meant for the children and the families of the city of Boston and beyond. To suggest that the figures that James Lee was suggesting are inaccurate is mind-boggling. If you go to page 99 of the pro forma, which we didn't get until Monday, you can see that in your stabilized year, your gross revenue just from the immersive events is over $5 million. You're monetizing Pier Point. Nothing is free. It's all going to be monetized. Everything from dock rentals to ancillary spaces and the Great Hall. And then when you look at the stabilized year 3, ASM, the operator, $2.1 million. ASM, general administration, $1.45 million. So to suggest that ASM isn't wagging the dog is absurd. ASM operates the Sydney Convention Center, Stockholm, Oval Arena at Wembley. This is Boston Harbor. We're not looking to have a venue that is basically going to be weddings and concerts and money-making, an encore in our little neck of the woods. This isn't about the children. If you look at the amount of revenue that the children are going to be generating, remember, this isn't free for them either. So to suggest you're going to have all of these different events for the children, it's not free. There's nothing here that's free. This is a money-making proposition, monetizing every square inch of the dilapidated Pier 5 that is in this condition because the BPDA simply doesn't put any money towards the Navy Yard.
Thank you.
So
I wanted to mention.
I can address the two figures that you shared. So first, the revenue figure, that is not revenue to ASM Global, that's revenue to the special purpose entity that would own and control this project. To your second figure, those are operating expenses. So in particular, the figure that you mentioned are likely salaries that we're paying local people to work at the pier. Again, not money that goes to ASM. These are operating expenses for the project.
Just to expand on that, there's another line item there that's of similar amount for staffing for Courageous. All of these programs that we are suggesting, they take local people. This is an economic development activity at the pier. That was also really, we read the proposal. The proposal asked for lots of public benefit and $8 million in funding. So we looked at how can we provide lasting public benefit, and with due respect, this really is for the kids. We're looking to 10x the number of kids that can really be on this site. We've seen lives transformed by Courageous and by accessing the harbor. It's very nice to say, wouldn't it be great if we can just have a big pool there? But that takes a lot of money. That takes operations. It takes a whole system. And really, that's what the last couple of years has been, putting those people together, the team together, to give a lasting something for Boston where everybody can actually access the harbor. And I come back to, that's what Courageous does. It makes it safe and equitable for people to access the harbor.
Thank you, Bill.
And I'd like to reclaim some time since Mr. Jacobson spoke for so long.
You were at Connie. I really appreciate your questions, but you were at 2 minutes when you stopped talking. So I will put you back at the end of the queue, and if we have time,
I appreciate that.
absolutely, just re-raise your hand when you're done. so that it
Thank
puts you back at the queue. And if you don't, again, people can send me an email and I will put it through the question and answer document that we'll be submitting online. So, but appreciate, I'm going to read one that I got an email because someone had trouble with the link. It's from Ann Beard. Its question is to Ann Lagasse. How tall are the boats that they will allow to dock and for how long? So, Ann?
So you're talking these 45 new slips that we're proposing?
The question, I'll just repeat it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is how tall are the boats that I'm supposing here is that the marina will allow to dock and for how long?
Right. And I'm asking specifically about the addition. So I think that's where she's coming. That's the question.
Feel free to answer that. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
free to answer
So
that. Yeah.
those slips are 50 feet in length. So how tall would the boat be? I would say probably 20, 30 feet tall. In terms of how long will they stay there, we rent boat slips both seasonally, and our season goes from May 1 to October 31st. Or we rent slips, what we call transient. These are people who come in for a day or two, so they could be either. Customers, it could be either in terms of that location. I'm guessing she's concerned about the tall mega yachts that come to Pier 6. Those two can be seasonal or transient. What you've seen there this summer has been transient vessels that come in for a couple days and leave. So again, they can be either, but just to
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ann. Randon Lyons, and if we could really just keep them to under 2 minutes, I'd really greatly appreciate it. I'm not trying to be rude when I say 2 minutes is up, but I just want to make sure we have 17 other people raise hands. So Randall, I'm going to start your timer, and I don't add the time that people are responding, just when you're talking.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ben. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
I'm Randall Lyons. I'm the Executive Director for the Massachusetts Marine Trades Association, MMTA. MMTA represents the recreational boating industry in Massachusetts. We are a nonprofit. We are a nonprofit 501c6 trade association. At the end of the day, my goal here is to actually talk about and kind of support a little bit of both projects. I've had the pleasure of knowing the Gassies for 20 plus years. I had the pleasure of knowing Dave and Courageous Sailing for 10 years, give or take, in my role at the MMTA. The economic impact is one of the key things that I'd like to talk about for the recreational boating industry in Massachusetts. There's approximately 1,000 businesses and approximately 20,000 employees, producing an economic impact of $5 billion to the state, $5 billion from the recreational boating industry standpoint. My connection to both organizations is bringing kids to the waterfront, bringing kids to boating and fishing. Education, we work with Bunker Hill Community Colleges. Both groups work with Bunker Hill Community College. Workforce is a huge component. Training, access to the waterfront. Both have great reputations on the water. Transient dockets, I'm going to put this out there, just knowing the importance of transient dockage to slips to the waterfront. It's great to see that this has the potential to maintain some waterfront access, some footprint. It's very much needed in the dockage world. For transient dockage, Anne had mentioned that the docks that are coming to visit Boston, every dollar spent on dockage equates to $4 to the local community. $1 in dockage, $4 to the community. Boaters are spending money on
20 more seconds. Thank you.
Restaurants, shopping, lodging, fuel, whatever it may be. So the boaters that are coming to visit the Boston waterfront are also benefiting the Boston waterfront, the Boston community, the restaurants, any sort of businesses on that front. I would love to see some sort of a partnership. I think it would be great if there is an opportunity to do that. That was ultimately my comment. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Okay, Dan Jaffe, you feel free to unmute. And again, just 2 minutes would be great. Thank you. Dan, I'm just going to ask you to unmute, so because you're still muted.
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry about that.
Nope, go ahead.
Mostly my questions are for Courageous. Are we going to be able to offer a community event offering of some sort so that the community can take advantage of some of the facilities without going through a heavy costs? The number of boats to be added within the water sheet. Also, are you also adding long sail offerings beyond the harbor? And then this is on Pier 4. And then the last two are on Pier 4. are you going to be able to offer a touch and go pier access for people besides, people that want to stay for a couple of days? Just touch and go, try to pick up or drop off people.
Dave DiLorenzo, can you respond?
Yeah, I appreciate all those questions. There are great ideas there. They're absolutely being explored, and we're excited to get to the point where we think those through. We are 1,000% committed, as we always have been, to equitable access, easy access, affordable access to the waterfront. That's what we're about. 65% of our kids in the summer program going on right now are on scholarship. We do everything we can do to keep our memberships affordable and to accommodate folks who need some assistance in paying.
I'm thinking about within the community of Charlestown specifically.
Absolutely. We provide discounts to Charlestown residents, and we do a lot to be accommodating to Charlestown groups. In fact,
the sailing is one thing.
I'm meeting some people on the
Sailing is one thing. I was thinking about the facilities itself.
Yeah, 100%. We have envisioned this all along as a waterfront community center for Charlestown and the city. These spaces are to be shared. This is not just an expansion project for Courageous. This is for the whole city, particularly Charlestown and the local community. And so,
okay, how many boats are you going to be offering within the Courageous program?
Right, the current thinking has us expanding by about 10 to 20 sailboats and a proportional amount of motorboats. It depends on the final configuration of the new dock as it would wrap around over to Pier 5.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Dan, let me finish.
Okay, just one more question, and then we have to go on to the next
I'm just saying on my original questions here. Are you going to be adding long sail offerings and touch and go pier access, specifically Pier 4, I guess would be the better one?
I'll chime in.
If you just be quick in your response. Sorry.
It's premature for us to make specifics on that. We need to get the designation and get all this into real plans before we can answer the specifics of that.
Thank you. Tim, you are up next. Tim Grobert. Again, please feel free to stay under 2 minutes. Thank you.
I'll be quick. Thank you so much. My name's Tim Grobert. I live at Flagship Wharf, and I also happen to be an active member at Courageous. I just wanted to offer my strong enthusiasm endorsement for the Courageous proposal. In my view, Courageous is an amazing organization. We benefit from the adult sailing programs, but I have a front row seat to the program and that they run for the city kids, and they really deserve a proper clubhouse, classroom space, facilities. We've heard some, really important input on this call. I realize this is complicated. It'll be a challenging project, but I just wanted to offer a voice of support from the community. I hope it'll be prioritized by the city and move forward for further consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Just one question from the question document from Melanie Kelly. And it's for Courageous. How many children who wanted to sail with Courageous this summer were unable to be accommodated?
About 100, but we can't do any marketing because we can't serve all the families that would like to participate. We long ago stopped being able to do that. Our wait lists were in the hundreds, and now everyone knows that it takes a huge effort to get in. Unfortunately, we just don't have the capacity that we need to serve all the families and kids who want to and should be able to participate. And that's what this project is meant to help address.
Thank you, Dave. Marion is next. Feel free to unmute and talk.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marion C., and I'm a resident at Flagship Wharf. I oppose both proposed developments for Pier 5. I oppose the marina project because it is a purely commercial venture that offers no meaningful public benefit. This kind of privatized use of public waterfront space does not serve the interests of our community. While I support the mission of Courageous Sailing, I cannot support its current proposal. It is too large in scale, too costly, and over-reliant on public funding. Though the proposal touts public amenities, the reality is quite different. According to its own financial pro forma, by the third year of operations, Courageous expects to generate nearly $7 million from immersive events and shows, and another $2.8 million from renting out ancillary spaces. Even the proposed pool will not be freely accessible to the public. Importantly, this RFP should not be reduced to a binary choice between two inadequate options. The PPTA has previously rejected all proposals for Pier 5, and it should do so again. We need a vision for this space that truly reflects the public interest, not just revenue potential. We can turn Pier 5 into a green and blue park and pool that enhance the quality of life for Charlestown residents and Bostonians. The MWRA has cleaned up Boston Harbor and has determined that the water quality in the harbor may already be safe to swim in. So we should build Boston's first harbor pool that is open and free to all Bostonians. Let's come together with our civic leaders, philanthropic partners, neighbors, and friends to forge a true public-private partnership to build a public waterfront recreation area that is welcoming, enduring, and meaningful, something that future generations would love.
Thank you, Marion. I didn't hear a question, so I think I'm going to keep going with the other questions. But thank you for your comments. Next is Stephen O'Brien.
Thank you. First I want to say that both these organizations are really good organizations. They've done a great job. They've been good neighbors. And they do what they do it very well. That being said, I can't support either of the proposals. The marina, the problem I have there is we have marinas from just below Spalding down to Pier 5, and then south of the the other side of the national park, all the way down to the dock. So if we were to put a marina there, all the private area, ex the federal park, would be marinas. I just don't think that makes sense. Secondly, with Courageous, they have a great mission statement. They have executed greatly on that mission statement, and they have succeeded by sticking to the mission statement. The problem with this proposal is it is way off from their mission statement. You've got an organization with $1.2 million of assets with a proposal for $65 to $80 million project. And that's supposed to be supporting the school. The tail is going to start wagging the dog. I'm afraid that they will really lose their way on this. It's just far too expensive. They could satisfy what they say are their needs at a much, much lower price. And the taxpayers, since this is going to be financed, a significant part of it with municipal bonds, the taxpayers wouldn't be at nearly the risk as they are with this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Next, we have Gordon Burns. And again, we have 12 more people. So just trying to keep everyone.
Okay,
thanks.
I'll keep it quick. I'm Gordon Burns, and I'm a lifelong Boston resident. And I want to thank Bill Jacobson, Dave Lorenzo, and Dave Alexander for an incredibly imaginative and visionary proposal for Pier 5. I think this is an amazing opportunity to build out what is really a world-class facility to help Bostonians to connect better to the harbor, to the natural environment, and really to each other. I had the opportunity to swim in downtown Copenhagen, Denmark, from a facility much like the one that's being envisioned for Pier 5. And there was so much joy and activity, and it was just knitted into the city. It would really, I think, change the character of how people relate to the harbor and each other in a meaningful way. And I think the proposal is really comprehensive. and very creative. And I do agree that nothing is free. The Courageous proposal does a great job of balancing the financial needs of creating such an incredible facility with the with public access and use. And so maybe I would just sum up by asking the team to talk a little bit about, what access does the public have on an ongoing basis to Pier 5 going forward?
Yeah.
Bill, you're on mute.
I think you're on mute.
Just be quick in your response, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Thank you, Gordon, for your comments and support. The public access to the site, the goal around this is that people can use the harbor. So it starts with the front area, which is an outdoor classroom and learning lagoon section. It moves through the property with a waterfront public access pool, and then classrooms, experimental space, outdoor space, all fusing education and resiliency together with public access. And that's really what the design has been around it. We've been really happy with how various partners have come together to see how Boys and Girls Clubs would come and bring their kids down to this. Almost all of the groups that we spoke to has said, this is just a great complement to the existing programming we have, and the harbor should be a resource for all. We just need a place like this.
Great. Thank you so much, both of you. I'm going to take one question from the chat. I'm skipping down through the comments to the questions in the document, by the way. From Keely, can Courageous speak more on the public spaces included in the project, specifically how they serve the greater Boston community beyond just residents of Flagship? ? Particularly interested in the rooftop and harbor pool space. Again, keep.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Can Courageous speak more on the public spaces included in the project, specifically how they serve the greater Boston community beyond just residents of Flagship, particularly interested in the rooftop and harbor pool space? And then Diane Valley, you will be up next once they respond to this.
So the RFP called for 50% open space. If you have a bird's eye view looking down at our project, because of the way we've incorporated the green roof, and if you include water sheet access, which Courageous makes accessible to the public, of course, somebody can't just walk up and take a boat because there's safety aspects in it. But there's a 2-hour learn to sail class that you could take at Courageous. So the entire site is set up as a public amenity that people can walk and use the pier, and doubles as a place to do all of Courageous's programming.
Okay, thank you, Diane. You're up next.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just want to support the previous voices that we had, Rosemary James, Marianne, Connie. This is the fact of the matter, that if you go to ASM Global, it says they are inspired to maximize revenue for developers and partners, transforming real estate assets into high-value commercial properties with significant corporate partnerships and revenue proposals. So the problem we have is that Courageous has not been courageous to be forthcoming that, in fact, that they are dealing with the largest global revenue maker for events. They haven't disclosed it to the community. And their previous proposal in 2023, which was aspirational then, was asking for 11,000 square feet. Right now, they're asking for 40,000 square feet. And when they asked for 11,000 square feet on Pier 4, it was known then that combined, that their pier is larger than the combined campuses of the Boston Sailing, the Boston Rowing, MIT Sailing, and the Harvard Sailing. So this is beyond ambitious, and this has not been a safe and equitable program because it took Pier 5 Association to point out to Courageous that because they were negligent as tenants and because the BPDA did not repair Pier 4, that their very youth were at risk of very dangerous lateral collapse, which meant that those kids had to have an emergency evacuation. And the BPDA did that because they had to for safety, and they paid $10 million. So Pier 5 Association would like the same courtesy, and we'd like to have a public pier, and we'd be happy to work with Courageous to expand their water sheet. And anybody who would like to have all of our information, you can go to pier5.org, and Zach Cutler has put together an amazing conglomeration of information. We don't need a pool there, and we've discussed it at previous events. We have a brand new $30 million pool up at Clarity Pool, and some of us would like to see a floating pool of salt water in Dry Dock. So we don't need that. And to spend $72.2 million, or up to $85 million for 10 more boats and 100 students is more than ambitious. It's absurd, and it's a Trojan horse. I'm really sorry because for 33 years, we've been supporting Courageous. But if you look at the 15 letters that they have in support, they did not share with the people who wrote those support letters that they were partnering with the largest event venue place on the globe, and that their goal is to monetize this pier. And so they talked about a science pier, but the science pier is a phantom, and this is a Trojan horse. And I'm really concerned about one last thing.
Yep, go ahead.
About the Lagasse's proposal. At Pier 6, we have a public viewing corridor, and every good day that I go down there, there's a gigantic white wall of some oligarch or some wealthy person's yacht, and our public is being denied our public viewing. So we appreciate that you're good managers of the boardwalk. We wish the BPDA would also be, but I think it's time that we've exhausted this community from the BPDA, and they have a conflict of interest. They own this pier. They're trying to monetize it. We need to make it a public pier, have the community work on it, and really rejoice the history and the community and the healthiness of having a public pier for all, not ticketed events. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Bill or Ann, do you have a response, or can we move on to the next question?
I just have one comment. You know, it's getting brought up here a lot about ASM, and I just want to say we came to ASM and we seeked out a partner that runs the most events so that they can best inform this policy and what we are doing.
Great, thank you. If the Lagasse's want to speak, but I didn't see them, so I think that was just a comment. Harry,
one thing.
Go for it, Chuck.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope.
One thing I just want to mention, just want everyone to look back and understand that Pier 8, after we rehabilitated it, and Pier 6, after we rehabilitated it, Ann and I have goals that we really like to make achievable without public money, without public funds. And frankly, as the city of Boston knows, we have mega yachts that come to the pier every so often, but it's 8.5% of the annual days in a year that a large yacht sits out there. The majority of the marina, which is people keep saying it's private, it's public. As everybody knows, it's
You get on it, Chuck, and I'm afraid to say that.
I would just like to finish. I'm getting to a point. So it's a public marina that anybody can utilize. Water taxis, paddle boats, launches, everybody can utilize it. But I just want to stress one thing. A very, very large percentage of that marine income, which is what we strive to do, went into creating what we think and what the U.S. Marina Association approved, went into creating a beautiful harbor walk that connects Pier 8 to almost to Pier 6, but we're working on that with the city now. But a
Okay.
tremendous amount of the money from Charlestown Marina goes into keeping those piers improved, maintaining the harbor walks, keeping public access.
Can I just
Okay.
respond to that?
Making the marina.
Diane, I really do want to let
public.
you respond to it,
I
but
know, just one quick response. I really like to have you disclose that, in fact, you have a monopoly of the Boston Harbor and you have a big financing arm behind you. You're very lovely people. We're very grateful to have you there, but we're talking about the fact that big money is taking over. We're not talking about your harbor walk. We like it. We're talking about your mega yachts are blocking our public view. It's a violation of the agreement that you have, and we have no recourse because BPDA does not enforce on behalf of the public. And so we'd like you to be a better neighbor, and that would be great. And you come show me where I can get access to your property, because I can't. There's a lock and key.
I'm sorry that you're misinformed, and it's too bad it has to come out on this venue to understand you're misinformed, and I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you both for that. I just want to keep it going. Again, we're at 7:43. I want to let the last few people go, so just keep it relatively short. And I ask the proponents to also keep your responses relatively short. Harry Horgman, please, next. I'll just unmute. Can't hear you, Harry. Again, yep. Thank you. Harry, I don't hear you.
There we go.
Yep. Again,
Can you
just
hear me now?
relatively. Yep. If you can keep it under a minute, that would be even better. But I know you want to speak, so I just, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I want to recognize the value of Ocean Havens and Charlestown Marina brings to the Charlestown community. We are deeply grateful for the invaluable support of the Impossible Dream, a nonprofit organization, has received, and to confirm the ongoing efforts of the Boston Planning and Development Agency in restoring the historic Naval Yard and enhancing the accessibility in the Charlestown area. It was 9 years ago when we embarked on a journey along the East Coast aboard the Impossible Dream, a wheelchair-accessible catamaran. Our mission has always been to connect with innovators, making waterways accessible while providing individuals with disabilities the opportunity to experience the therapeutic value of sailing. With the help of Spalding Rehab Hospital and other organizations, we have introduced nearly 1,000 people with disabilities and their families to sailing over the years. Throughout this journey, we have experienced significant challenges, particularly concerning dockage. However, we were fortunate to connect with Ann Lagasse at Charlestown Marina, who welcomed us with their guest without hesitation. We discovered that not only the Charlestown Marina was one of the most accessible facilities, but it also embodied a culture of care and community engagement. The commitment of the Lagasse family to the maritime community is immense. They provide state-of-the-art facilities for boaters while actively assisting other organizations to improve the lives of people with disabilities. A notable example of their support was during the Tall Ships Festival in Boston in 2017. Anne reached out to us and asked us to participate in this prestigious event as the only boat designed for individuals with disabilities. This experience inspired us to journey up to Quebec City with the Tall Ships, allowing us to form lasting friendships and demonstrate that individuals with disabilities can lead fully fulfilling lives, and with the right support and equipment, it is all possible. In addition,
Harry, you're just at about 2 minutes, so if you could wrap up your comment, I'd appreciate it.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. No, it's okay. Just if you could wrap it up in the next 10 seconds, that'd be great. Thank you.
So just to cut through this, I would say that we highly recommend the continued support of Charlestown Marina and the Lagasse family as champions of accessibility and community development. They are vision visionary owners. They can turn a concept into reality. They can finance their projects, and working together with the BPDA, Charlestown Neighbors, and others, they can foster a thriving, inclusive environment for all. So
thank you, Harry.
very much.
And Mari, again, if we could just keep it under the 2 minutes, even under a minute, I just want to get through the last few people. So thank you.
Good evening, members of the Planning Committee and those gathered. My name is Dr. Imari Paris-Jeffries, and I serve as President and CEO of Embrace, and we support a courageous plan. I come before you with a simple truth. Space is never neutral. It remembers. On the 50th anniversary of the Carson Beach protests, we know the tales of old Boston. The waves carry the stories of those left out, especially on hot summers like this. Public space can either heal or harm. It can either welcome or warn. At Embrace, we have chosen to build spaces that welcome, that remember with dignity, that insist on belonging. On Boston Common, the Embrace Monument, the 1965 Freedom Plaza speak of a future still possible. And just this past weekend in Great Barrington, we unveiled the monument of W.E.B. Du Bois, born of that same dream. These places were never about stone and steel alone. They're about living invitations to gather, to reckon, and to belong. That is what I see in this Pier 5 project. Yes, there's going to be classrooms. Yes, there's going to be sailboats. But underneath all of this is something deeper. The Courageous Plan is a quiet but powerful claim that this harbor belongs to all of us, that a child from Roxbury deserves to stand at the water's edge with a child from Jamaica Plain, Beacon Hill, or Charlestown. This project is about who the city is for and who the city will be. When the waters rise, when climate change does not ask permission, it does not wait for consensus, and the tides are coming. What we choose to build in this moment will tell our children whether we believe they were worth protecting. Pier 5 is about a longer story. Through Everyone 250, a coalition of 100 partners, we're working to reveal more of Boston's history in celebration of our nation's 250th anniversary. These new spaces will welcome the world, with millions arriving for the 250th anniversary, the World Cup and Sail Boston. And I hope they will see Embrace's partnership with Courageous Sailing's vision. Because this work is not about decoration, it's about democracy, it's about who gets to belong in the spaces we call public. Thank you for your time and your care, for you bringing this decision to a conclusion. Thank you so much.
Ben, you're muted.
Thank you.
Carmen, you're up. We don't hear you, Carmen. Sorry. You do appear to be unmuted, but we can't hear you. So,
can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I'm Carmen Rondash. I'm a Charlestown resident. I'm a low-income single father of 4, and I'm an employee at Bunker Hill Community College. I am for this proposal. My kids do go to Courageous Sailing, and they're excited about this. This means a lot to them. The thing that they're incredibly excited about is the Learning Lagoon. As a student, a scholarship student, I went to Boston University. I took classes in their marine program, and I took a class, the life, history, and ecosystems of the Boston Harbor. That's where I learned a lot about Boston and a lot of how I learned to love it. We would go and like crawl under piers by the barking crab. That's where we learned. I was able to take my kids to the Boston Harbor Islands. They're excited that they can have something in their backyard to learn the same things. I take my kids canoeing and kayaking regularly. For us to have a place near home where we could put in the water without having to pay, that means a lot to us. This space is a way that we can exist in our town without having to pay money, without having extra expenses, and it means a lot to us. So we're for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Gabriella, you're next. I'll just unmute when you have a chance. Gabriella Kassan. Yeah,
Hi.
yeah.
Sorry, my button wasn't working.
That's okay.
I'll try to keep this short, and I'm reading off something. I see a lot of people concerned about funding and ASM, and I don't know enough to comment on that, but it's been a complete mischaracterization to be calling Courageous some money-making scheme. I'm talking to you guys all today as a somewhat missing perspective of someone who has been a camper and a staff member at Courageous since I was 7 years old. What other camp provides completely free or subsidized summer programming for Boston youth? Two-way bus rides to the camp, free breakfast and lunch, learning how to swim, which is life-saving, STEM education, which helps avoid learning loss over the summer, education on the history of the Navy Yard and Charlestown neighborhood. You learn leadership, confidence, teamwork, and of course, it's a physically and mentally stimulating sport. People on this call right now gave me my first ever job interview and helped me grow professionally in the years following and to this day. Courageous youth are supported even in adulthood. Just a few hours ago, I was helping out with a hands-on science lesson about levers and torque, and I was able to see how much fun and growth we give the kids. It would be great to have in-person air conditioning, real toilets, and indoor learning space. Let's give the youth that we serve and the staff that work there, including with Boston Harbor Now, Boys and Girls Club, and Special Olympics sailing, a real bathroom. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Gabriella. Vaughn O'Neill is next.
Hey guys, someone. Hi, yes, Vaughn O'Neill here. I just wanted to voice my support for Courageous's proposal for Pier 5. I'm a Charlestown resident for the past 10 years, and every morning I've walked past Pier 5 and dreamed about its potential. And seeing the proposal that the Courageous has submitted has really blown me away. I think that it's a beautiful marriage of not just helping the children learn about sailing, but also learning about the maritime heritage that our great city of Boston has had. Courageous sailing is really, truly community driven. I've had the pleasure of being able to sail there several times, and I second everything that the previous commentator was saying about how amazing of an organization it is. I also think that the design of the structure is truly what could make it a crown jewel for Boston Harbor. I think that their way of blending park space so that the residents of Flagship Wharf have a beautiful park to look at, also while considering the noise that the pool could make or the event space could make, and also simply just looking at the design of the layouts, you can clearly see that this is a structure that was designed for public access and designed for public use. So that's all I wanted to say. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie Kelly.
Okay. I'm not normally one to speak out in public, but for Courageous, I'm willing to do so. I want to express my strong support for Courageous Sailing. I'm a 35-year resident of the town, and both of my kids have gone through this program since they were young, 8 and 9-year-olds. They're both young adults now and still sailing. One has begotten her captain's license, and one has continued sailing on teams all through college. We could never have done it if it weren't for the program that Courageous offered. And at the time it was free, and now it's free for those who demonstrate the need. But we could not have done such a program like this in the summertime. And our kids were on the water every day, learning, growing, and becoming the independent adults they are now. Rock on, Courageous.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Melanie. Shahid.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. So I have been in the Boston larger greater ecosystem for the last 20 years, working at the intersection of innovation, from a lot of the labs across all the key universities in Boston. And I just wanted to just identify the opportunity there is based on this concept and really provide a voice to support the Courageous plan. I've been inspired by the mission that they've had. I've admired it from a distance. I think with this idea, you have an opportunity to really do something world-class. We have an incredible asset in our harbor, but can we use that to really channel the first thing that you here when you land at Boston Airport is you hear about the story of innovation and resilience and really leading the world in impact. And I think we've got the world's best intellectual capital coming in this city. Can we harness this opportunity, the infrastructure, the vision that is being pitched to support innovation and research and support some of the startups that are really creating the economic impact, creating jobs, and specifically in this moment around AI, when it's transforming all these marine science, oceanographic, resilience. There's so many good ways that this infrastructure can be leveraged specifically for public benefit. And I think massive believer in public-private partnerships. We're working with the state of Massachusetts around an AI bio hub right now, where we have 15 companies that are going to go out and raise tens of millions of dollars, solving some of the biggest problems in our healthcare and for society. And I see an opportunity that could be something similar. I think it requires a bold vision, which has been presented. And there's a real opportunity to do public-private partnership for actually translating the ideas there's so much intellectual capital in Boston to really drive impact, not just for Boston, but for at a societal planetary scale. So I think there's a really, really bold vision here, and I would love to see this come to fruition. I think specifically as it relates to applied AI research.
Thank you, Shahid. Ashley, and then Abby and Mike will go, and then I will finish it off. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank all the people on this call for their passion for this project. I think on both sides, there's a lot of residential passion, and I think that's what makes Boston unique. I'm speaking on behalf of the proposal for Courageous Sailing to expand onto Pier 5. My family and I have been involved in Courageous as campers, instructor, and my current role as social worker there for about 20 years, and this has been talked about for as long as I can remember. Our current facilities, while awesome and we do not match the enrollment on what we have, and they have been the same facilities that I've been using since I was 8 years old. I'm currently a college graduate. I'm in my 20s. My brother is as well. We don't have running water. We don't have a safe space for kids to cool down, and it's just a constant battle to give them the safe learning environment that our City of Boston youth deserve. One that I really benefited from when I looked for my first job in childcare. I turned to Courageous to learn to teach kids how to sail. When I looked for my first job as an official social worker, I turned to Courageous. And when I looked for a job this year after finishing my master's to get me by in this tough environment for young people to get a job, I turned to Courageous. And I grew up with Gabby, who spoke earlier, and worked with her as well. And it's not just a running joke, although it is a really consistent theme that people that grew up in Courageous keep coming back to Courageous, not just for a paycheck, not just because it's a job, because we're really passionate about the mission and have been. I would do the work that I do for free every single day for the rest of my life if Courageous would have me. And they truly deserve the space that they're asking for once and for all, as they've been asking for years. That's all.
Thank you. And then Abby and Mike Canary.
Yes. Hi, my name is Abby. I've worked at Courageous for almost 10 years now, and I just have one quick story as to why I think the work that Courageous does matters, and I think it's at the heart of what I think the full-time staff really care about. I think sort of to what Gabriella was saying earlier, it seems like some of that has been misconstrued throughout this call, but today I help run our swim sail science program, which supports 80 students from across Boston have equitable access to the ocean, swim lessons, and then STEM and summer learning. And one of our field trips today was we visited the USS Constitution. And as we were getting on the Constitution, students turned to me and said, "Oh, I didn't even know this was here." And these are students who live in Charlestown but have never crossed Chelsea Street. And so I think when I think about the work Courageous does and what their vision is for Pier 5, I think for me it matters because I want to get more students crossing Chelsea Street and I want to get them to the ocean. I want them to feel safe while they're in the ocean, and I want to use that to help transform the lives of students, as I've already seen. This is my first year where someone who came up through swim sail science is also one of our IITs. And so sort of to what Gabrielle and Ashley were saying, right? like once you're at Courageous, you're always part of Courageous. And so I think getting to see students who were once 9-year-olds now be 16-year-olds fully working in the program, plans to continue sailing in high school. And again, these are students who had previously not been close to the ocean, and were not able to utilize it. And I think there are so few opportunities for students in Boston to really get to utilize the ocean, despite the fact that most of them live within 2 miles of it. So this is really important to me, and I'm excited to see where this goes and see how we can get more students again to Pier 4 and hopefully one day Pier 5.
Okay, great. Thank you. I do see a few other hands, and just I'm going to have to end the meeting now. So, staff, if you can just go back 1 or 2 more slides to the and for all those who have their hands raised, please feel free to send me an email. I want to hear from you. Just is 8:03. So just schedule and next steps. Thank you everyone for staying on with us. We really are grateful to hear from everyone and hear all sides from different community members. We of course appreciate the time that everyone has dedicated to coming to the meeting tonight and providing feedback. We know everyone is busy. So here's a typical schedule of how an RFP works. Right now, we are sort of at this developer presentation and reviewing proposal stage. So us at the city are reviewing these proposals. One of the most critical parts of that is hearing from you. So we have a public comment period. If you go to the Pier 5 website through the planning department, you can, at the bottom of the page, you can submit a comment. You can send me an email, and that's open through September 12th. Here's the link. So the next step is to continue our review and review the comments that we heard tonight. That's obviously a critical part of our review. And throughout the next few weeks through the public comment period, if you have a question that you didn't get answered, send it to me. We're gonna, again, be sort of publicizing the answers through the Pier 5 website to make sure that everyone's questions do get answered. Even if it's a question for us at the city, if it's a question for one of the proponents, we'll sort of do a combined answer document in sort of waves. And what are the next steps? There are 3 sort of paths from here. One of them is we recommend one of the proposals, or the other one is that we select neither. And so that is what we are in right now. So we really appreciate everyone's time. And we hope everyone has a great night. And I'm going to stop the recording, and it will be posted later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.